The subject of paying college athletes is one that has been debated for years. While college athletes produce a substantial amount of revenue for their respective universities, they never see a penny of that. College athletes should be compensated fairly for the amount of revenue they bring to their institutions. I'm a huge college football and college basketball fan. I firmly believe that paying athletes will make the game even better. The info I'm using today comes from npr.org, nymag.com, and si.com. Today I will discuss the countless hours college athletes pour into their programs, the amount of revenue they bring into their universities, and the injustice and unfairness that surrounds not paying them. Being a college athlete is equivalent to having a full-time job. On average, a college athlete spends 35.5 hours per week on athletics, 37.5 hours per week on academics. That totals up to 73 hours per week, way more than the 40-hour average of a typical American. Due to this, they have no time to work or get money on the side. College athletes should also be compensated for the revenue they bring to their schools. College athletes, especially football and basketball players, generate a ridiculous amount of revenue for their universities. According to a study by U.S. Senator Chris Murphy, college athletics brought in a total of $14 billion in 2018, more than any pro sport besides the NFL. Unlike these pro sport leagues, these college players never see a dime of that money. The unfairness of not compensating these players is another reason why they should be paid. College coaches make a gaudy amount of money each year, while players make absolutely nothing. Two of the greatest coaches in their respective sport, Alabama football's Nick Saban and Duke basketball's Mike Krasinski, are two of the highest paid college coaches. Saban will make $9.5 million in 2021, and Coach K will bring in $7 million. With no disrespect to the coaches, they don't do as much physical work as the players. They aren't the ones putting their bodies on the line to get wins, and they're paid like they are. The unfairness of this situation is very apparent. Now, there are several solutions to solve this problem, but one of the most effective answers is one proposed by Joe Nocera of the New York Times. He writes, "I still think a salary cap system would work, although it would have legal hurdles. All the players would get a minimum of $30,000 in football and men's basketball, and then you'd have enough left over in the cap that could be used to recruit players." This model is very similar to what a majority of pro sports leagues do. Now, there are not many examples of college athletes being paid since it is violating NCAA rules and regulations. The closest thing that I know of is the NBA G League Ignite. This league was formed in 2020 and allows basketball players to make money right out of high school. Jalen Green, who is the highest ranked recruit in the 2020 class, was the first player to do this. He signed a contract worth $500,000 with the G League Ignite. Now, one of the main arguments against paying college athletes is that it will take the emphasis off of their education and make them choose between money or a quality education. This argument is flawed since most athletes pick their schools based off of winning traditions, not education. Now, if you want to see college athletes get paid, you can make a difference by visiting www.change.org and searching for a petition. Now, before I wrap things up, I want to leave you with two questions. Would you work over 70 hours a week at your job and only be compensated with subpar housing and the promise of a promotion? Now, most college players are. That's why I wanted to ask that question. If you think about it in terms of our day-to-day lives, they work 70 hours a week and are only given subpar housing and the promise of being able to go to the NFL or the NBA. So it's essentially like you working 70 hours a week at your job and only being compensated with subpar housing like the dorms that they receive and the promise of getting a promotion to actually get paid. And one more question, a lighter question I want to leave you with, is do you think college athletics would benefit from these athletes being paid? That's all I have. Thank you for your time.